Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it is day 3 of Graphic Novel Week. And today I thought we would take a look at my graphic novel collection. So it's not as sizable as I would like, but I am building up quite the nice little collection. So I thought I would show you, give you kind of a rundown of what I've read and what I thought of it if I've read it. Because this could kind of be a long one, I'm going to get right into it and try to move through fairly quickly. So here we go. These are in no particular order other than the fact that the ones I haven't read will be at the end, but getting right into it with some of my absolute favorites. This is no secret to any of you, the Zeta the Space Girl series by Ben Hackey. So that is Zeta the Space Girl, Legends of Zeta the Space Girl, and The Return of Zeta the Space Girl. Every last one of these is damn excellent. They hit a lot of the right notes for me. I love the characters. They're all very memorable. If I could vacation in any graphic novel realm, I think it would probably be Zeta's, and I think I kind of want to be her for Halloween. So yeah, big fan of these. Then we have Friends with Boys by Faith Erin Hicks, which I have reviewed this already. There's a note on the back. Oh, that's because it's signed. This was a gift. I forgot about that. This was a gift from Xenia. I had already read it, but she picked me up a signed copy at one of the book conventions, so yay for that. But anyway, yes, I like this. I love Faith's art. I like the story that was told and how she kind of captured the characters and all the fun little details that she put in the panels, so. And speaking of Faith Erin Hicks, I also have Nothing Can Possibly Go Wrong, which is by Prudence Shen and illustrated by Faith. And the two just worked beautifully. I loved how funny and heartfelt Prudence's story was, and I loved how Faith captured that and added to it with her art. So, very good. And this one is also signed by Faith. Probably should have started with the first graphic novel I ever read, or at least after my childhood foray into superhero comics, which I've talked about before, and that would be Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I love this. I've talked about it before. It's definitely what kickstarted my love of graphic novels and my willingness to give them a try and pick up different ones. And it showed me that it doesn't all have to be the bang pow of superheroes, that there can be a really powerful, moving story. I thought she did a fabulous job. All of the world thought she did a fabulous job. This was an award winner, so if you haven't picked this up, I highly recommend it. Speaking of the more powerful, moving memoir graphic novels, I have Jerusalem by Boaz Yakin and Nick Bertozzi. This is obviously a story of Jerusalem and Palestine and war, and it is one that made me ugly cry. It's really good. It's so just, it's so painful because it's like you're watching a car crash in slow motion. You can see where everything is going wrong. You can see these choices that are being made. They're gonna have horrible consequences and there's nothing you can do about it. And it just felt so real. It felt so true to the idea of war and families being torn apart and extremism and things like that, and it was just really powerful and sad, and I don't know if I could put myself through it again, but it was really good when I read it, so thumbs up. But moving from the doom and gloom onto a lighter note, Bake Sale by Sarah Varon, which I adore. I've talked about this before. It was in my past graphic novel week, and it's been on the blog a few times. It's so hard to explain this book. It's weird, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's about a cupcake who bakes and his friend Eggplant who's in a rock band, but that sounds perfectly right up my alley. I went into this expecting silly, quirky weirdness, and it amazed me how much I actually connected to Cupcake and Eggplant and rooted for them, and it was just darling. The art, too, is very just colorful and vibrant and kitschy. One of Sarah's nearly wordless comics. I mean, this one does have words, but really reliant on the pictures to tell the story, and it does a really good job of that. And while we're talking about Sarah, let's go ahead and go back to the doom and gloom for a minute so that I can talk about Robot Dreams, which is possibly my favorite, definitely high up there. It is nearly wordless, definitely more so than Cupcake's story Bake Sale was. It's very light on words and very full of story. It's also one that made me ugly cry. Who expected that? You don't pick this book up and think, I'm gonna read this cute little story about a dog and a robot and I'm gonna cry my eyes out. But it was so bittersweet, and I felt so bad for the robot, and just masterful. And I didn't expect it, and I love it all the more for it. So very much love this. Next up we have two of my faves, which are Castle Waiting Volumes 1 and 2 by Linda Medley. Before I get into talking about them, I just want to say I owe a lot of my collection to Ksenia and to Gina from First Second Books. They send me amazingness. Do you hear my neighbors? Someone's either being murdered or having a really good time. They have sent me a lot of amazing things, both, you know, as publishers and as just awesome friend gifts. So I owe a lot of my collection to them, and they've introduced me to a number of amazing stories and artists. Big thanks to them. But even the ones that they didn't send me are often directly influenced by them, and this choice was definitely one of them. Ksenia had talked about this one on Goodreads, and that's how I came across it and was like, oh, this sounds right up my alley. So I went and placed a request for it at the library, and they had to get it from another system, and it took forever, and it was so worth it when it came. These are pretty hefty, and I was expecting to just read a few pages and get a feel for it, because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning when I started, and no, I finished it that night. I just stayed up, and I would linger over things, and it was just, I love these stories. It is fairy tale based, and it kind of gives you more background and sort of builds up the worlds. The characters are fantastic. The art is really fun. There is meat to the story, there's importance to it, but it's not told in a beating you over the head way, and it's just really good. So after I had read these two and had to take them back to the library, I was really sad. So I had to get my own copies. Next up I have Relish, My Life in the Kitchen by Lucy Nisley, who is a webcomic artist, so you can check out her art right now online if you would like to, and kind of get a feel for what you'd be in for in this. I am a foodie, so this was right up my alley. I liked how she worked in the memoir aspects and how she tied it all together with food, because I think that's something that everyone can relate to. We all eat. Big moments tend to happen around meals. You know, you have your family dinners, and that's when everyone gathers. You go out for dinner with friends and spill your guts. I mean, that's something, it's universal. So it's a really smart decision to tie a story together that way, but it's also such a huge part of her life and the community that she grew up in, that it just makes sense and works. And she also interspersed it with recipes, and so the whole thing was just kind of immersive and made me really hungry and was really good. Same Difference by Derek Kim. I think I've talked about this one before with you guys. This did a really good job of sort of capturing character and capturing the everyday, you know, capturing life and relationships and culture and portraying a relatable story and relatable characters. And it was funny and it was cute. I did feel like I wanted a little more from it, not because I felt like it was lacking. It's hard to explain. I guess I just felt like I was waiting for something to happen that maybe didn't happen. I don't know. I did really like it, but I was expecting to like it more based on how strongly others have reacted to it. I did like it, and I also, and this is weird and has nothing to do with the story, but I love that the little cover, the slip cover for it with the fishies, is clear. It's just a weird little quirky thing that I really liked. Dalila, Dirk, and the Turkish Lieutenant by Tony Cliff. I've talked about this one before, and I have reviewed it as well. You can tell I liked it by the tabs. I loved the characters and how they interacted. I love Dalila. She's fantastic. Salim is the perfect foil to Dalila and all of her craziness, and watching him get drawn into her shenanigans against his will, but also totally not against his will, feeling like he's not ready and can't handle all of this, but still diving in, was just lovely. There's a ton of humor. The art is beautiful, and I really can't wait until the next book, because I'm pretty sure there's more, and there had better be more. There had better be more. The Eternal Smile by Jean Nguyen Yang and Derek Kim. You will hear me talking about Jean Nguyen Yang again. I really like him. American Born Chinese is, I think, probably the second graphic novel I ever read. It was after Persepolis, and again, kind of reconfirmed to me that they can be something really impressive. I love that, and I don't think I own it, so that's sad, but it's so good. This was similar and yet totally different. American Born Chinese takes these stories and they seem so different and then weaves them together, and it's so much more powerful, much more than the sum of their parts. The same is true, I think, of The Eternal Smile. It changes up a lot. Both the artwork and the story change up quite a bit. So that's impressive, both for Jean and for Derek, to be able to kind of masterfully work together these different styles and make them all work and seem cohesive. Look at, I love that soft yellow. Something that can seem lighter and frivolous until it all starts to come together, and then it kind of hits you, and I love when a story does that. I'm afraid this video is getting really long, so I'm going to try to kick up the pace. So next up we have A Bride's Story Volume 1 by Kei Omori. I love Kei Omori, and this is the only book I own by her. I need to get the Emma series. It is high on my wish list. I adore it, every last bit of it. And I love her silly afterward manga. She's just fantastic and funny, really, really detailed, and a researcher, and loves her history, and that shows, and it comes through, and I adore it. Sailor Twain by Mark Siegel, which is a story about a mermaid, and I have talked about this one before. It's got a gloom to it, it's dark, which I think is appropriate to mermaid stories, and I like when they go there. But also I love the art, which is this very soft, sort of charcoal, just really, really, really well done. Again, thumbs up. Not many thumbs downs in my graphic novel collection, so yay! This One Summer by Jillian and Mariko Tamaki. This is another one that I've talked about and that I feel like I appreciated more than I liked. So I did like it, and I think it's something that I actually want to reread. Same with Same Difference. I think I might get more out of them on rereads. And there were things I found really impressive about this, but again, it felt like I was waiting for something that didn't come, some kind of revelation that just didn't come. I don't know, it's hard to explain, and I did like it. I can see where it would sort of put some people off. The art is beautiful and all kind of blue scale, which I really liked, and it really skillfully captures a sort of coming of age moment and felt very authentic and true. And it tackled some really weighty issues, but I still kept feeling like there was buildup that I wasn't necessarily gonna have fully realized, but still, something that I feel I will reread and probably get more out of and like more. I have a couple of rather large graphic novels for kids, middle grade readers, but you know, also totally for me, and that's Rapunzel's Revenge by Shannon and Dean Hale, illustrated by Nathan Hale. Lots of Hales there. Hale, yes. And as you would imagine, it is retellings of fairy tales, and again, it's one that I felt like I wanted to like more than I actually did like. I did like it, and I do want to read more of the series, but I wanted to love it, especially because I generally love Shannon Hale. It was just kind of so-so, though. And the other is Giants Beware by Rafael Rosado and Jorge Aguirre, which, again, I've talked about before, though I think I need to talk about more, so I probably will kind of revisit this in Fairy Tale Fortnight next year, because if I'm recalling correctly, I had written a review for this and somehow it got deleted, and I just didn't have time to do it again. But I have talked about it and given it its thumbs up. Good, fun adventure, really great, memorable characters, and personality really injected into those characters. Very fun. I could see it pulling in a lot of kids, especially boys. And yeah, I need to give this one another go so that I can do it a little more justice in a review. The Undertaking of Lily Chen by Danica Novgorodov, which I have talked about a couple of times, and you already know I love it. First of all, the artwork is beautiful, as you would guess by this gorgeous watercolored cover. It's just stunning. Absolutely stunning throughout. I wanted so many of these panels as posters, or just painted on my wall as a mural. So pretty. It's something I think is really well suited to me and those like me that like dark humor and are willing to still enjoy something that is just so wrong, because this book is wrong, but it's so good. For those of you who don't know, this is about Chinese ghost marriages, which, look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's bound to be pretty on the dark side, but it tackles it in a really interesting way. I can see it being triggering for people, I can see it really being off-putting for people, but if you are willing to go with it or you like dark humor, you'll probably love this. Lord knows I did. The Cute Girl Network by Greg Means, MK Reed, and Joe Flood. I have reviewed this and had a guest post, so I will link those below. But this is another one that kind of captures slice of life and captures characters and humanity, I guess. Not characters, but how we actually interact and treat people and judge people and flirt and date and whatever. It's just really good at capturing the gossip mill and all of that jazz, and it's just really funny and clever, and a good amount of quirkiness, which of course I always like. In the hopes of not making this video too endless, these next 5 I'm going to show you, I'm not actually going to talk about in this video because I will be talking about them in another Graphic Novel Week video. So I'm just going to show you these guys in my collection. It's Amy Unbounded by Rachel Hartman, Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, The Wrenchies by Farrell Dalrymple, The Stratford Zoo Midnight Review Presents Macbeth by Ian Lendler and Zach Giolongo, and In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. I am going to be talking about all of these in a 5 in 5 minutes review video that is also coming up this week. So if you want to know about these guys, and it's pretty ups and downs across the board, some interesting stuff in that video, yeah, you'll want to click on that. Right here. Go ahead and click. Hopefully the video's up by now. And all that is left is the books that I haven't read, so nothing to talk about there. I will just show them to you, and you can let me know what you think in the comments, and then we will wrap up this endless video. The fattest novel in my graphic novel collection by a long shot, The Complete Bone. Holy moly, it is gigantic. It's just so big. Oh my god. It's almost 1,500 pages. Ooh. Hey, remember when I said I'd be speaking more about Jean Luen Yang? Yeah. Prime Baby. Level Up, which I have read part of but need to finish, and the Boxers and Saints box set. It's shocking even me that I haven't read this because I'm so looking forward to this. I think because it's been sitting back there on that big stack of books behind me that's a scary, scary black hole, it's just become like a feature and I forgot that I even had it, and now I really, really want to read it. Life Sucks by Jessica Abel, Gabe Soria, and Warren Pleece, and I need to read it. I keep almost reading it, picking it up, and it just hasn't happened. The Infernal Devices graphic novelization of Clockwork Angel, which was sent to me by the publisher, and I meant to read it right then because it's just a graphic novel and I hadn't. Cassandra Clare's really hit and miss with me, mostly kind of miss, but I'm curious about it in graphic novel form, so I need to just read it, right? Tomboy, a graphic novel memoir by Liz Prince, which I just told you guys about in a book haul, and which I will be reading and talking about soon. And finally, kind of an interesting one in the mix, The Year of the Beast by Cecil Castellucci and Nate Powell, which is both traditional novel, prose novel, and graphic novel. So kind of works in conjunction with each other. And I'm curious to see how that turns out. Now, because my shelves are a scary, scary place, and because sometimes I'm looking so hard for something that my eyes just gloss over, I'm sure that I did miss some of my collection and that there are things lingering. In fact, I just realized that I definitely didn't pull off Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosgol, which I love, love, love. But anyway, I'm sure there are others lingering, so no slight to them if I did forget any, but there you have it. That's my collection. Let me know what you think in the comments and any that you think need to be added to my collection. If you see any holes, if you think I should try a certain type or a certain author, definitely let me know. And of course, let me know some of the highlights of your graphic novel collections as well. And that is all for now. As always, thanks for watching and happy reading. Oh my god.